An underwater cave bursting with ancient Mayan artifacts, a colossal stone sphere, and a bizarre alien mummy. Our world is truly full of mysteries. For example, mysterious artifacts that simply can't be put into a logical context are popping up all over the place. Get ready to dive in with us to a realm of archaeological sensations that remind us once again that the historical truth is still out there somewhere. The Mayan Cave. It sounds like the story of an Indiana Jones movie, but it's reality. In the hidden crevices and nooks of the world's largest underwater cave system lie the remains of ancient humans and long-extinct animals. In the flooded caves of Sakara in Mexico, for example, researchers came across, among other things, a 9,000-year-old human skull. Archaeologist Guillermo de Anda, who is leading the investigation of the cave, calls it the most important underwater archaeological site in the world. While the system's record-breaking dimensions span more than 345 kilometers, de Anda's team found that a vast underground cave system called Dos Ojos is connected to Sakara. Those connected cave systems, in turn, contain the bones of extinct Pleistocene animals, including the remains of giant sloths, short-nosed bears, and Gomphotheria, elephant-like herbivores. Why the bones ended up in this cave system of all places has not been conclusively clarified. It is conceivable that the animals fell into the so-called cenotes or waterholes and drowned. However, some bones could also have been washed into the cave along with the rising sea level. The bottom line is that the complex home to nearly 200 different archaeological sites, more than half of which belonging to the legendary Mayan civilization. While the Mayan empires flourished between the years 2000 BC and 1000 AD, their traces are still not fully uncovered. It is possible that some human remains were placed in the caves after death. Others may have come from ritual sacrifices. Furthermore, archaeologists have discovered pottery, artwork, and statues that were probably thrown into the cenotes as part of sacred rituals. And yet, although many stunning finds have already been recorded in the cave, researchers are certain that they have only uncovered the tip of a much larger archaeological iceberg. For in fact, the underwater sites are far from being fully mapped, which is why no one knows what undiscovered treasures still lie dormant there. Enigmatic stone sphere. The work of a lost advanced civilization or merely an idiosyncratic freak of nature? Ever since the mass stone sphere was discovered in Bosnia, experts have been puzzling over the true background of the massive object. With a diameter of 3.3 meters and an estimated weight of 35 tons, the sphere has attracted many curious visitors over the years. And if we briefly recall the mysterious stone spheres of Costa Rica at this point, it is indeed reasonable to assume that we are dealing with a man-made artifact. This assumption is also held by archaeologist Samir Osmanagic. While the massive structure is located in a forest near the town of Vosoko, the Bosnian Indiana Jones states that it originates from an unknown civilization that inhabited the region over 1,000 years ago. Furthermore, the red-brown color of the sphere would indicate a very high iron content. However, other experts point out that this iron content is typical for a so-called concretion. These are again mineral aggregates which are formed in a completely natural way. Atacama Mummy. Have all the heated discussions finally come to an end? Ever since the so-called Atacama Mummy was found in 2003 in the desert that gives it its name in Chile, the world public has been asking itself one central question: what the hell is it? After all, one thing is indisputable. With its size of 13 centimeters, its elongated skull and strikingly hard bones, the skeleton looks anything but human. Against this background, some people suspect that we are actually dealing with the remains of a completely unknown species, a species that may not even have come from Earth. However, scientific DNA analysis paints a far more terrestrial picture. Accordingly, the analysis concluded that the genetic material came from a human. However, experts were still unable to explain the bizarre appearance of the Atacama Mummy. Finally, one genome analysis later, A study found that the skeleton had a total of 7 genetic mutations, all of which influenced human growth. Thus, the researchers assume that the strange appearance is due to the combination of these mutations. Among other things, these lead to premature senescence, short stature, and severe malformations. Accordingly, the alleged alien is probably a stillborn fetus, or a child that died shortly after birth. The Viking Sword. Every summer, Saga Vanacek goes with her parents and little brother to Lake Vedastern in southern Sweden. While the girl usually builds sandcastles there or skips stones across the water, an incident occurred a few years ago that made Vanacek a national celebrity overnight. When Saga went into the water on a bright, beautiful summer day, she suddenly felt something long and hard on her knee sticking out of the clayier bottom of the lake. After pulling the object out, she immediately noticed that this was something different from the sticks and stones she usually finds there. Lo and behold, Saga had just accidentally discovered an ancient Viking sword that left the archaeologists she contacted in disbelief. While the sword is estimated to be 1,500 years old, the family was initially asked to keep the exciting find a secret. The researchers first wanted to make sure if there were any other historical treasures slumbering in the lake. And indeed, afterwards, the experts were to track down another brooch from the Viking Age and a coin from the 18th century. And even though Saga found it a bit of a shame that she had to give her sword to the local museum, she's happy that it can now be admired by other people as well. A city in the basement. Old clothes, long-forgotten toys, a full-grown city. Basement finds are truly something exciting. And yes, you heard that right. In 1963, a man in Turkey made a strange observation. His chickens kept disappearing through a gap in his basement that had opened up during renovation work. To find out where his feathered contemporaries were going, the man tore down a wall and discovered something almost unbelievable. The unique basement find has since been known as Derinkiyu, describing a colossal underground city. Located in Cappadocia, however, the hidden site is still accompanied by many question marks. For example, why don't we know exactly who built Derinkiyu or why? Some experts suggest that the site was laid out by the Hittites over 4,000 years ago. Others estimate that we've been dealing with a secret Christian refuge. However, the bulk of Derinkiyu still slumbers in obscurity. It is estimated that only 25% of the original complex has been uncovered so far. The part that has been uncovered so far comprises 8 floors, with rooms covering a total area of 2,500 square meters. In addition to living and sleeping quarters, these also house a monastery, a wine press, storage and meeting rooms, churches, and even a dungeon. Regarding the number of inhabitants, experts' estimates vary widely. While some experts believe that almost 3,000 people lived here at the same time, others consider a population of 50,000 conceivable. Sealed off from the outside world by so-called roll stone doors, Derinkiyu had a sophisticated ventilation system consisting of over 1,500 shafts. In fact, the air circulation system still works to this day. The system was also used to transport water. News from Sakara. The ancient Egyptian necropolis of Sakara is always good for new surprises. A few months ago, researchers discovered several ancient embalming workshops here, giving us a startling glimpse into the mummification skills of the Pharaonic Empire's inhabitants. Laid out about 2,400 years ago, the sites contained stone beds on which the bodies of the deceased rested during the procedure. At the end of the beds, scientists discovered gutters as well as clay pots that were used to store internal organs. Furthermore, the find also included sheets and natron salt. To stop decomposition, all moisture was removed from the body during mummification. A workshop was apparently used for embalming animals. For as is well known, the Egyptians were also known to preserve for posterity those animals they considered sacred. These included cats, for example, as well as ibises and apis bulls. If one follows the explanations of the director of the archaeological site of Sakara, this was the first time that embalming workshops were discovered there in connection with temples, a circumstance that is clearly different from the previous finds. Until now, such facilities were always associated with the deity Apis in Memphis. In the course of the one-year excavation, the researchers of Sakara also traced 2 new tombs, which are considerably older than the embalming workshops. Thus, the age of the tombs is estimated at 4,400 and 3,400 years, respectively. Experts were also unable to uncover the identity of those buried. They were 2 priests named Nehesudba and Men Kebler. Other finds include statues and artwork, and even some ancient Egyptian cheese. And with that, thank you for watching our video all the way to the end. Feel free to hit the like and subscribe buttons to support us for free while staying up to date. Before you take a look at the other exciting videos in the credits, we'd like to ask your opinion. Which of the featured discoveries amazed you the most? And have you recently heard of any other exciting archaeological finds that didn't make it into today's video? We're eager to hear your comments.